clear with a low of 38. Cafe Latte is your one-stop shop for award-winning soup, salad, sandwiches, a pizza and wine bar, and fresh treats from the bakery made daily. Cafe Latte is located in St. Paul on the corner of Grand Avenue and Victoria. Check them out at cafelatte.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Welcome to the Gaily Show, the only daily LGBTQ radio news and talk show in the United States. I am your host, John Parker. Jim Pounds, executive producer, joins me in the studio.
Hey, all.
So we've got a lot going on today. Also some weird news, breaking news coming out of Ferndale, Michigan, that we're going to take a look at. Allegations of a couple of guys targeting an LGBTQ bar with guns, scouting which bars to potentially do an attack. Allegations of that we'll get into. I want to also say, if you are streaming on YouTube channel right now, hello, please click subscribe. Click like, leave us a comment. And if you haven't followed us on YouTube yet, we have all of our author interviews there, an entire playlist for you. Crucially, for tomorrow's election, we have all of our interviews that we have conducted with Minneapolis Mayoral candidates on LGBTQ issues. We are the only outlet on the radio that did any type of coverage like this. So you can go there and we have a whole playlist. You just got to click play. You can listen to all of those interviews. We also have every single broadcast we've ever done is here as well. But we also take out individual videos, so you don't have to watch the whole show. You can listen to very simple segments or interviews there as well. So you can check out our YouTube channel there. If you are listening in the 2 p.m. Central Hour, we can take your calls at 952-946-6205. Later in the show, we'll take a look at those allegations because they were literally breaking news coming over the wire here about the potential shootings at a gay bar or gay bars that were being targeted in Ferndale, Michigan. We're also going to get into the government shutdown, the updates around that. We're basically entering month 2 here, and now the premiums for folks that are going to go up, those are starting to roll out now. We're starting to see what those numbers are going to be. Obviously, SNAP benefits are in danger. Where are we at with the Trump administration? Will he abide by court orders to continue paying out those SNAP benefits? Again, tomorrow is election day in America, so we're going to break down a few key races that are happening tomorrow. But up first, the Minneapolis mayoral election is tomorrow, and we are grateful to the 5 candidates who joined us here on the show to discuss LGBTQ issues. Again, on the radio, we were the only outlet to cover the LGBTQ side of the mayoral race. And as Minneapolis can set the tone and agenda for LGBTQ rights in Minnesota and nationally, Jim and I have come to the decision that we here at the Gaily Show would review the candidates to determine if voters should rank them on their ballot or not. So essentially to do endorsements. Minneapolis voters can rank up to 3 candidates. We are going to do something a little bit different with our endorsements. So we're going to break them down into 3 categories. Rank means that both Jim and I agree that voters should rank that particular candidate. A split vote means that one of us recommends ranking the candidate, but the other one does not. We leave it for you to decide. And then no recommendation means that neither of us recommend ranking a particular candidate. We will not recommend which order you should rank your candidates in. We leave it to you to decide who to rank first, second, or third. We will be discussing all the candidates that we invited to join us here on the Gaily Show, regardless of their attendance. So who did Jim and I agree to rank? We can start there. We can start with Reverend Dr. Dwayne Davis. We recommend ranking Dr. Davis. Right off the bat, I think folks will say, oh, well, because Dr. Davis is the openly gay candidate, that means that we automatically rank him. That is incorrect. There are actually LGBTQ candidates in American politics that we disagree with very much, and we would not recommend ranking them, nor would we endorse them. For myself, and then Jim will get to your rationale here, I voted to recommend ranking Dr. Davis because of his expertise on the major issues facing Minneapolis and also his leadership approach. So I liked how he worked on spending bills in Congress as a senior legislative assistant for House Whip Steny Hoyer. His legislative work, as I understand it, focused on healthcare, education, Social Security, transportation, and housing. Of note, Representative Hoyer was a moderate Democrat, and I think that's important to note when considering all the various political factions in Minneapolis. I'll have more on that in a second. Dr. Davis also worked for the Democratic Leadership Council, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and was the director of federal and industry relations at Sallie Mae. I'm not thrilled about the latter, especially given the many federal investigations into that company, but after leaving Sallie Mae, because I wanted to see where this went, Dr. Davis served as a policy analyst for the Episcopal Church, served as the chaplain for the Minnesota State Senate, and taught at United Theological Seminary, and ultimately serving as the lead minister at Plymouth Congregational Church. The co-chair of the City Community Safety Working Group and the Minnesota Poor People's Campaign. Housing, big issue I know for Jim and I here. I appreciated how he has consistently said that the government has given up its traditional role to private developers, and Dr. Davis says that building more and more isn't a solution. He wants to use zoning and to incentivize public and nonprofit development of housing. On the economy, I like that the CTUL Action Fund endorsed Dr. Davis. If you don't know, CTUL is a worker-led organization where workers organize, educate, and empower each other to fight for a voice in their workplaces and in their communities. That is a direct quote from their website. I like that he wants small businesses to be part of the conversation the city has with using their incentive packages to bring big businesses into the downtown core. What incentives and pathways can the city create with those larger companies, bringing them here, that they will do business with smaller businesses here in Minneapolis? I said that in a very convoluted type of way. But on public safety, I want to say that Dr. Davis co-led the City Community Safety Working Group, and many of when you get into the recommendations of what the city has adopted, many of those come from that Community Safety Working Group. Which is, it was important for me to learn that and to see that. Under the consent decree to address the failings of the Minneapolis Police Department, there were independent monitors that were tasked with evaluating the city's progress on that. And Dr. Davis facilitated the community conversations with those monitors and was able to get some insight into why Minneapolis was succeeding in that and not in succeeding with those. And I think having started his career working for Representative Steny Hoyer, a moderate, and having policies that align, some of which align with progressives in the DFL, I think that Dr. Davis could create dialogue between the mayor's office and the city council, which needs to happen. Every time I've heard him speak, and even in my interview with him, he is about convening people. On LGBTQ issues, he has worked hard to ban conversion therapy. That is an area of coverage that we're going to continue to have here, particularly as the Supreme Court is looking to strike down bans on conversion therapy. He's worked hard on anti-LGBTQ violence. He's worked on a variety of issues. You can imagine he's been on the board of Outfront Minnesota. And what I appreciated in my interview with him is how he said, Washington is no longer a reliable partner for us. Now is the time to have leadership who is going to work multi-jurisdictionally. So yes, Dr. Davis would be the first out LGBTQ mayor of Minneapolis, and that history is important, and we would celebrate that here on this show. But housing, public safety, and small businesses are small business investment are crucial to the LGBTQ community. So for those reasons, I recommend ranking Reverend Dr. Dwayne Davis for mayor. Jim, your recommendation.
I just want to say for the folks in Chicago, in case you're going, why do I care about this? I think we're at a time now when local and state leadership is crucial, critical, life-saving. And so, maybe you wouldn't pay as much attention to the mayoral race. Maybe you'd feel like, well, I don't know how much time I want to invest in that. This is now, I think, critical. And in your own city, your mayor is going to be just as important. So that's why we're putting so much emphasis. That's why I think we're putting this much emphasis on it. The one word I have written down for Dr. Davis is unity. I I think this is a very difficult time to get unity on anything, but my goodness, and I'm not a religious person, but this gentleman has a tone and an outlook that is very inclusive of all people. Maybe it's the moderate thing you're talking about, John. He feels like he would sit and listen and consider carefully all points of view, and then you would want to hear what he has to say. That was how he struck me. Somebody that's going to bring this city together. My goodness, we'd better get together because the bad folks are coming from the outside. So anyway, yes, I think we should definitely endorse or support him for one of your votes.
We do recommend, very good, ranking Reverend Dr. Dwayne Davis. Our next candidate, and I'm seeing we're coming up on the end of our first break here, so I guess
you can't go that long.
We can start by saying we have Minnesota State Senator Omar Fateh. We do recommend ranking Senator Fateh. A primary reason for myself was the legislative record. If you've been paying attention to Senator Fateh's campaign, you know now funding free college tuition for tens of thousands of Minnesotans, securing a statewide living wage for Uber and Lyft drivers, investing $19 million for public safety in Minneapolis, saving the 2040 plan to make sure we are building more affordable housing and ensuring a cleaner environment for all of us via the 100% clean energy bill. I'm reading that directly from his website language because it's the most succinct. He talks about it a lot, rightly so. I think it's important that he supports a living wage of $20 an hour. Wages for workers are not rising, and we need all available action to get those wages up. We've talked previously on the show about how taxes and how the top earners have dismantled their tax burden across the country, particularly at the federal level. So I agree with Senator Fateh's plan to explore a wealth tax. I do wish that others would consider it, or at least looking into it. On the economy, again, I like that the CTUL also endorsed Senator Fateh. And also my previous union, of which I was a member, MAPE, the Minnesota Association of Professional Employees, also endorsed Senator Fateh, and I take a lot of stock into my union because we were about 12,000 union members, 12 to 13,000, depending on the year, all working at key levels across Minnesota government, and we had the pulse on what was happening in local communities. And on housing, Senator Fateh rightly recognizes the negative effects of the profit motive on private companies have when it comes to building housing. And he has a lot of solutions around utilizing the city government to address that. I do have to fit in a break here. We're going to have more about why we are recommending to voters to rank Senator Omar Fateh for Minneapolis Mayor when we come back. You are listening to The Gaily Show on AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and click like. And if you haven't signed up for the AM 950 weekly e-newsletter, you can go to am950radio.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and sign up.
Guess who's back? That's right, it's me, the Grinch. Don't miss seeing me at Children's Theatre Company this holiday season. Can those Who's down in Whoville make me into a lover of Christmas joy? Doubtful! Yeah, but you'll have to come and see for yourselves. Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas is the perfect holiday treat for the whole family because of me. Yeah, the Who's are in it too. But you'll love it anyway. Tickets and showtimes at childrenstheatre.org.
Across this country, LGBTQ rights are under threat. This is a struggle that the LGBTQ community knows all too well. Since 1987, Outfront Minnesota has been fighting for LGBTQ rights and protections here at home, and this work is needed now more than ever. Hard-fought wins here in the state of Minnesota are at risk, from the ban on the harmful practice of conversion therapy that passed in 2023 to transgender protection secured in our State Human Rights Act in 1993, and even national recognition of our same-sex marriage protections that we secured in 2013 are at risk. Outfront Minnesota has helped Minnesota become a national leader in LGBTQ rights, and they will hold the line to make sure we don't lose what we've gained. But they need you. Now is the time to step up and support Outfront Minnesota and LGBTQ rights here in our state. Outfront Minnesota needs your financial support today to strengthen LGBTQ protections at home, at school, and at the state capitol. Learn more and make your gift at outfront.org/give. That's outfront.org/give.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. November is here, so you're probably thinking two things right now. First is, man, where did this year go? And second is, oh no, I'm hosting Thanksgiving and my house is not ready at all. So you need to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to get things in order before your friends and family come over to celebrate. Every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from hardwood, carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, and more, so you don't have to worry about your friends and family plopping down on a nasty couch. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google with over 21,000 reviews, so go ahead and get clean. And don't miss this month's deal. Get 3 rooms of carpet starting at just $139 and $50 off an air duct cleaning. You just need to call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Hi, it's Penny from Nightingale, your gathering spot near 26th and Lyndale in South Minneapolis since 2012. Come check out the fun and vibrant atmosphere. Besides our traditional favorites like the Nightingale burger and fries, did you know we also have delicious vegetarian and vegan options? Plus, we have one of the best gluten-free menus in town. And for drinks, our bar staff is always creating fun new cocktails along with a thoughtfully curated wine and beer list. Join us at Nightingale where good times and great flavors come together.
Welcome back to the Gaily Show. I am John Parker. We are coming up on the bottom of the hour. Before we get into this next segment, I want to talk about our travel partner, Travel Marquette. That is a very special place for me. Travel Marquette, I've been going there every year for the past decade. And part of the reason why I love going there is I don't have to worry about traveling while queer, because it is a university town, super blue city, and a reliably blue county with a very active pride organization. The Stand-Up Comedy Festival will be back at the Ordog Brewing Company this weekend, actually, November 5th through the 8th. This 4-day festival has multiple showings, comedians offering a wide variety of humor. And then also starting this weekend, you can experience the magic of the holiday season as the historic Lower Harbor Ore Dock lights up with magical laser displays every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. on the north side of the dock. It's designed by the Fresh Coast Light Lab. This is a free and family-friendly laser and light show that changes up every week with holiday themes, winter themes, and even a Marquette-inspired abstract display. Obviously, you will be downtown, and that is right next to the excellent restaurants and local breweries, and you can do some holiday shopping. And if you reach out to me on Blue Sky, send me a DM. I'll give you all sorts of recommendations of where to visit and shop in Marquette. If this sounds like something you want to do, visit travelmarquette.com to start your journey. That is travelmarquette.com. All right, we are continuing our endorsement process for the Minneapolis Mayoral election that is happening tomorrow. Before the break, we told you how we are doing these endorsements. So Jim and I are doing them as either a rank, which means Jim and I both agree that a voter should rank that candidate. A split vote, meaning one of us agrees that a candidate should be ranked. We leave it to you to decide. And then there is a no recommendation if neither Jim and I agree that that candidate should be ranked. Before the break, we talked about how we both agreed that voters should rank Reverend Dr. Dwayne Davis in tomorrow's election. We had just gotten started by saying that we also agree that Minnesota State Senator Omar Fateh should be ranked as well. I gave my rationale for that. Jim, would you like to share your reasons?
I'm just going to say he's a change agent. That can sometimes be good and sometimes be mixed, but I believe he would be the choice for somebody that wants significant change. That's all I'm going to say.
I will also add to that I think that his relationships with the city council will be different than Mayor Fry's were, and that may lead to getting out of a logjam that we have, similar to what I said for Dr. Davis. Dr. Davis's approach, I think, also would lead to undoing the logjam with the city council and having all of those areas working together to advance the city. So that is also why we are recommending to rank Senator Omar Fateh in the election tomorrow. With the current incumbent, Mayor Fry, we have a split decision here. So we will leave it to you on whether you want to rank or not. I opted not to rank. I personally don't vote there, but I'm recommending not to rank Mayor Fry. I think there are a lot of good things in the mayor's record, including his executive order regarding keeping access to gender-affirming care in the city. He has been a very clear ally to the LGBTQ community. If reelected, he said he wants over 12,000 new housing units for a range of income levels. He wants to expand the 4D Affordable Housing Incentive Program. But his position seems to be focused on just building more low-cost housing, which I would disagree is a long-term solution. Unregulated profit motives persistently lead to bad housing decisions. I worry that we have too much of a deadlock between the mayor's office and the city council. And it often feels, when I listen to the debates, when I read the transcripts of interviews, that the rationale for Mayor Fry's campaign is somewhat to stop the city council, which in and of itself isn't a reason to have another 4-year term. I think folks may take me up on that, and please, you can. But speaking of the 4-year term, this is largely the issue that I have here, is that I don't believe in candidates perpetually running for offices. I disagree with Governor Tim Walz's decision to run for a 3rd term. I believe we are a democracy and that we need term limits. And so largely on that is where I do not recommend that voters rank Mayor Fry. Regardless of positions, I just think that we need term limits in this country. We have too many people who are staying forever in their offices. I applaud Senator Tina Smith for stepping down when she is choosing to step down. And on that reason, I have my recommendation not to rank Mayor Fry. But Jim, you do recommend ranking Mayor Fry.
I do. I think I would call Mayor Fry the business as usual candidate. And there's some things that are just fine about that. He's right that this is a difficult job. This isn't something you come in 6 weeks and fix all the problems. I don't think he's a bad mayor. I think he's got some issues that I'm not sure he knows how to solve. And I'm not sure that anyone could solve them, especially if the city council decides they don't like, all of that sort of childish stuff, childish maybe on both sides. I don't know. It's like, we don't have time for that. So I wish that everybody was on the same page to do the right thing for the city. And I'm sorry we're dealing with all the personality nonsense, but I don't think Mayor Fry is a bad mayor. And so I do recommend that you consider, if you want business as usual, that's a reasonable point of view to have, and that's why I would recommend putting him somewhere on your list of 3.
All right. We have, I think what we'll do here is we're coming up on the break here. We have 2 candidates, 3 actually, that we invited to be on the show, two of whom were able to join us, Brenda Short and Alejandro Richardson. In both of their cases, we have no recommendation to rank both of them. We really appreciated their time. I guess I'll speak for myself. I really appreciated the time that I had, the short time I had with them to interview them and hear their thoughts on LGBTQ issues. I just felt that there isn't enough there in their candidacies in terms of experience to justify our ranking in the mayoral race tomorrow. But I think that both of them do have very interesting perspectives on Minneapolis politics. And so it'll be very interesting to see where they go from here, if they choose for smaller local elections or ultimately run for the city council. I think it's very interesting to see where that may lead for them. Also, there is the socialist candidate, Kevin Dwyer, who we invited, who did not accept our invitation to
Ironically.
be here. That is not, being here or not being here was not,
No.
part of the reason why we would or wouldn't endorse somebody.
No.
But again, I think that, our recommendation is not to endorse, largely because for myself, when I would listen to his campaign talking points, there just wasn't a lot there besides the sort of the standard capitalism bad, which I think there's a lot of things to talk about there and to unpack, but there didn't seem to be a lot to the campaign beyond that sort of standard line there. We're going to take a break. We have one more candidate that we are going to share with you our ranking decision. You are listening to The Gaily Show on AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
Hey, Minnesota, it's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast. We'll expose all the latest schemes, frauds, and more. Weeknights at 7 on AM 950.
This is Alex Knorr from Buzzcut Mowing, a young, hardworking entrepreneur serving the Southwest Metro with affordable lawn care. I take the hard work off your plate with weekly mowing. I also offer leaf cleanups, aeration, dethatching, tree trimming, and mulch installation. I'll keep your lawn beautiful so you can enjoy your weekends with the people who matter most. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com. That's buzzcutmowingmn.com.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen dinner theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Make your plans today to see White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
The independently owned Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for your next book. The friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at making recommendations no matter your age or taste. Plus, they have frequent events including book readings and meet and greets with authors. And they sell more than just books. They have a wide variety of puzzles and games, too. So stop in and browse the store off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Today, sunshine with a high of 57, then tonight, clear with a low of 38. Cafe Latte is your one-stop shop for award-winning soup, salad, sandwiches, a pizza and wine bar, and fresh treats from the bakery made daily. Cafe Latte is located in St. Paul on the corner of Grand Avenue and Victoria. Check them out at cafelatte.com. KTNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Coming to you from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk. Welcome back to the Gaily Show. I am John Parker. It is 33 minutes after the hour. We are also live streaming on our YouTube channel right now. When we're not live streaming there, you can check out all episodes of The Gaily Show on YouTube. Plus, we have curated playlists of episodes, such as our interviews with Minneapolis mayoral candidates, all of our author interviews, as well as episodes where you just want to pull out certain segments, like our profile of the new head of the UK Green Party, who also happens to be openly gay. You can find segments like that on our YouTube channel as well, plus all sorts of different shorts for you as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, please click subscribe, click that like button, and leave us a comment. Today, for the first part of the show, we are offering our recommendations to Minneapolis voters, as we're based in the Twin Cities, on the Minneapolis mayoral candidates that we invited to be here on the show, and whether or not we think that voters should rank them or not. As a recap, we are doing this in 3 different types of categorizations. A recommendation to rank means both Jim and I agree that that candidate should be ranked. We did that with both Reverend Dr. Dwayne Davis and Minnesota State Senator Omar Fateh. We recommend to rank. There are split decisions, meaning one of us agrees to rank and the other one does not. We leave it to you to make that decision. We had that with incumbent Mayor Jacob Fry, where Jim agreed to recommend to rank, and I did not, on the basis of term limits. I don't believe in people perpetually running for office, and I think political term limits are important. Before the break, we were talking about 3 candidates, 2 of whom did come to the show, Brenda Short and Alejandro Richardson. The third, Kevin Dwyer, who did not join us. Jim and I both agreed not to have a recommendation to rank these candidates. But Jim, what were your thoughts on them?
I just want to say that I think all 3 of the folks that came in on the show, and I watched all of your interviews, I wasn't in the room, were credible, sincere, good-hearted, decent people, the kind of person that you'd be proud to have them working on your behalf in government. I felt that way about all of them. So I tried to write down a positive about each person. And about Alejandro, I said, he's working class. He's a labor union person. I support that 100%. He said, see you in 4 years. And I thought, yeah, okay. Yeah. Make that an appointment. Brenda, I thought had this tremendous empathy because of her life. And I thought she was great. It was hard to pick 3 people out of this group, but I wanted everyone to know that I tried to, as such a negative person, I tried to have a positive to say about each candidate. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Jim, for that. So our final candidate that we are making a recommendation on is Jazz Hampton, and we have a split decision here. I am recommending to rank, and Jim is recommending not to rank. I think that something that I really appreciate about Jazz is his communication style, which I think is actually really important these days. I think people give too much credence to say, oh, well, what's the importance of communication? A lot of our politics right now is being debated within the communication sphere, particularly the media. So having folks who understand communication and media and have that savvy and can tell interesting stories that relate policy down to that, I think is really important. I think you see that as well with, not to return to an earlier thing, but with Dr. Dwayne Davis, being a minister, understands the power of storytelling and using that to communicate with folks. So that is something that I was really I really appreciated from Jazz. Something I will say is that sometimes, though, in those interviews, because he's doing that connection, which is so great, sometimes you kind of get lost in his very specific policy decisions that he would make if he was mayor. And so I do recommend going to his website, where you can get very clear, like these are the policies that Mr. Hampton rather would enact if he were elected mayor. I mean, a few of them in here, ending unconstitutional searches that erode public trust and disproportionately harm marginalized communities. I think, that was something there, establishing a living wage certification program with tax incentives for businesses, launching a buy local initiative with through the city government, forming a small business and labor advisory council, like with Senator Fateh and with Reverend Dr. Dwayne Davis. I really appreciated that the CTUL Action Fund endorsed Jazz as well. I see that as a marker of his commitment to worker rights and his work on the economy. And so that is my rationale for ranking, for why I think voters should rank Mr. Jazz Hampton. Also, you can go and watch the interview that we had with him. I mean, very clearly an ally of the community, and would be someone I think that would be who we could work with in the mayor's office as a community specific to LGBTQ issues.
Mr. Hampton was great. I thought I wrote down neighborhood town meeting. This is the kind of person I would want to sit in a meeting of 20 people talking about what are we going to do in our neighborhood. He's empathetic, but he has leadership qualities. I thought he was great. I think the problem is in a city this size, you got to be a little bit more, I don't know what it is. I hate to say it. It's slick and it's kind of grosses me out, but I think it requires a level of slickness to be able to deal with some of the unsavory people that you have to deal with. So I believe he's almost too good at the moment. Maybe he'll be a little more rotten, in a few years, he'll develop a few calluses, but he just seems like such a genuine, nice guy. You think, ugh, I would hate to put him in that lion's den, with the city council and all that. So I feel like he's a great potential candidate, and that maybe he'll have some, rough elbows after another year or two. But I just think he's a great person. I liked him very much as a person.
That is why we have a split vote here. Because I think that his communication style could help to overcome that. I do believe that Mr. Hampton could have a way of communicating with the city council and other big players around undoing that logjam between all of them right now. Everything kind of just feels like it's at a standstill.
Yep.
And so, but we can disagree on these issues. We leave it to Minneapolis voters to make your decision tomorrow.
Yep.
Polls will open. You can find your polling location if you go to minneapolismn.gov. You can find your polling location, what time the polls are open for you. Remember, look at when that poll closes. As long as you are in line, you can vote tomorrow evening. And there are a variety of new accessibility machines and policies in place to make sure that all of the polling locations in Minneapolis are fully accessible for you to participate in as well. So you can go to minneapolismn.gov to find your polling location. And please, our endorsement, always vote. Please vote. Please get out and vote. It's very important. Take folks with you now more than ever when we see this particular presidential administration who is very openly, welcoming neo-Nazis and, pardoning people who are trying to overthrow the constitutional process.
Right.
We need folks who are participating in a democracy. And so if you're upset with what Trump is doing, you need to vote tomorrow in local elections. That is how we exercise our power. We are always going to say that here. And on our YouTube channel, we have a whole list of all of our episodes around democracy and preserving and protecting our democracy there. Lots of amazing interviews from people who are working on voting rights, who are voting or working on voting rights, but also who are helping people run for office. And a lot of different, how do we combat fascism? All of that. You can find that on our YouTube channel.
Well, and this person, when elected, whoever they are, is going to be the spokesperson that's going to, at some point, probably have to stand up against the big gorilla. And I've thought about that too. Who's going to be the person that's going to represent us in that battle to come? So it's really important you all vote. It would be critical to have an outstanding turnout. It'll give whoever that person is all the firepower, hopefully, that they need.
All right. I want to briefly, because I've had a chance now to take a look at the AP news story here. So 2 men were accused of plotting terror attacks at LGBTQ bars in the Detroit area. This story coming out on Monday afternoon, AP reporting it at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. They say that 2 men had acquired high-powered weapons and practiced at gun ranges. They were scouting LGBTQ+ bars in suburban Detroit for a possible attack, and they have filed terrorism-related charges against the pair. Allegedly, they were inspired by the Islamic State. Allegedly, there is a 72-page criminal complaint that was unsealed Monday in federal court. So the 2 suspects were charged with receiving and transferring guns and ammunition for terrorism. They made a brief appearance in federal court on Monday and will remain in custody until a November 10th detention hearing. So that is apparently 1,600 rounds of ammunition were purchased, and they were going to be using AR-15 style rifles, allegedly.
Well, they're both 20 years old. I think that's an interesting point because somebody said both are too young to drink, but they are quite young. Whatever impression that gives you, they're very young, which is all the more tragic, maybe. I don't know.
Former Mayor Dave Coulter, according to AP News, who is openly gay, said it was very disturbing to hear about the alleged plot. In a statement or an interview with AP, Coulter said, "The pain of the Pulse nightclub tragedy in Orlando, Florida 9 years ago, while I was serving as mayor of Ferndale, is still deeply felt in the community." And that was the Pulse nightclub shooting killed 43 people. And there used to be, most recently on this story of Pulse nightclub, there used to be rainbow crosswalks right by there as a commemoration to those the 43 people whose lives were lost. And the DeSantis administration has decided that despite all the evidence that rainbow crosswalks are a threat to driving. And so they have ripped them all out of the ground, and they have said it's against the law to do this. I mean, interesting that there are a bunch of studies that say, hey, when you paint a crosswalk in bright colors, as it turns out, that makes the crosswalk more safe. But here's a big issue for those of you who are concerned. We're going to talk about the government shutdown now. For those of you who are really concerned wait, why are we getting our SNAP benefits, and why are the Republicans letting our health insurance premiums go up? Like, why are they doing all of this stuff? Why are they creating, these tariffs that are hurting us? Well, you also voted because you don't like the gays. And so they're spending a lot of their time ripping up crosswalks. That's what they're spending their time doing right now, folks. They're spending a lot of time talking about trans athletes, which is 0.01% of the population. And in the meantime, you're losing SNAP benefits. You're having cost of goods going up, housing prices going up. And if they don't end the shutdown, your insurance premiums are going to spike on January 1st as well. Let's get into that, though. So apparently, this is as of Monday afternoon, the Trump administration saying that SNAP will be partially funded after judges ruled against his plan to stop all SNAP funding altogether starting this past Saturday. They plan to freeze all payments. Are we going to break? No, we're not going to break.
Oh. We might.
I heard the music. I was like, "Oh, we're ready to go." Actually, we are coming up here on the break. But I mean, I guess that's, the judges keeping SNAP going. I'll be curious to see if they try to run this up to the Supreme Court to get that overturned or not. They have been losing the public relations war, if you will. A lot of Americans are blaming Trump and the administration for the shutdown and for SNAP benefits. One more break, still lots to get to here on the Gaily Show. You're listening to AM 950 Radio and WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
On Saturday, November 15th, One Voice Mixed Chorus presents the concert Protest Lines, a concert and community sing at the O'Shaughnessy Auditorium. Hear the chorus perform powerful music of protest and then join them as they teach you songs to take to the streets. This is a true community sing-in for the times we are enduring. Go to onevoicemn.org to buy tickets, onevoicemn.org.
I'm Shelley Medore, and I'm running for Minneapolis City Council. As your council member, I will fight against harmful MAGA policies coming out of Washington and push back on extreme policies here at home. Minneapolis doesn't need more grandstanding. We need good governance and common sense solutions. I will work to invest in community policing, protect tenants' rights, and invest in our small businesses so we can keep Minneapolis a welcoming city for all. On Election Day, I'm asking for your vote. Together, let's choose Minneapolis. Vote Shelley Medore for Ward 2.
Prepared and paid for by Campaign Fund of Shelley Medore, Ward 2.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Your time is precious. Why are you still mowing your own lawn? I'm Alex Knorr, a young, hardworking entrepreneur serving the Southwest Metro with affordable lawn care. At Buzzcut Mowing, I offer weekly mowing, leaf cleanups, aeration, dethatching, tree trimming, and mulch installation. I work hard so you can relax and enjoy time with family and friends. Call today and I'll handle the rest. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com. That's buzzcutmowingmn.com.
The NLS Braille and Talking Book program gives patrons the freedom to read their way, listen to their stories.
When I lost my sight, the only thing I had was reading, and it was like therapy to me.
NLS has pretty much anything you'd possibly want to read. Just can't recommend it enough. It's a free service. It's amazing how much you can get.
I have used every means there is, I think, of getting access to the National Library Service books.
If you want to read in electronic braille, you can. If you want to read on your phone, you can. If you want to read in hard print, you can.
Everybody can read the way they want to read using this program, and it's a program worth looking into.
For more information about the National Library Service for the Blind and Physically Handicapped Library of Congress, visit loc.gov/thatallmayread or call 1-888-NLS-READ.
Welcome back to the Gaily Show. I am John Parker. We are coming up on the top of the hour. We are breaking down latest updates in the shutdown. We are on day 34, the day before an election, which I think a lot of Americans will use as a referendum on what's happening in the shutdown. For those who are just tuning in, earlier this hour, we gave our recommendations on 7 candidates on whether or not to rank them for tomorrow's mayoral election. You can check that out on am950radio.com or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@thegaily show, or everywhere you get your podcast. You can listen to the first part of our program, the first half hour, first 35 minutes actually, to get a sense of who we recommended to rank tomorrow or not. Jim, you had some thoughts about the shutdown.
Well, I'm trying to think of this from the voter perspective, the public perspective. They must see this as an impossible situation, as do I. The Republicans passed this bill to extend tax benefits that benefit primarily rich people. And part of that was, the original lie was the tariffs were going to pay for this, which they haven't. So the next thing they had to do then was attack something they've always hated, which is Medicaid, which is, financial support to help people afford health insurance. But it's also used to keep people in convalescent hospitals long after their resources have run out. So the original attack, and this is what we have to keep in mind, is from the Republicans against Medicaid because they failed to fund their tax break via I'm sorry, John's pointing at me and I'm forgetting what I'm talking about. They failed to pay for the tax break through the tariffs. Okay. So now we're in this situation where the Democrats have said, gosh, this is going to cause a terrible problem for all kinds of people, not only being thrown off of Medicaid, but insurance rates are going to skyrocket. So the Democrats have kind of put this line in the sand, but we were in a bad situation anyway, because supposedly the American public put the Republicans in charge of all aspects of government. And you can see what's happened, that things run off the road and it's crashing down the hill, and the Democrats are trying to stop something, but it's very difficult. We either let people starve to death by losing their SNAP benefits, or we let them not have health insurance and die prematurely because of that. I mean, that's the situation the Republicans have put us in. They know that we're in that situation. They've done it on purpose. They feel like they can't lose either way. Do you know? that in terms of hating the average person, which they do deeply, they can't lose. Either way, the Democrats lose, in my opinion.
Partially, the reason why they feel that is they have one of the most sophisticated communications apparatus in the history of the United States. So no matter what happens, by this time next November, all of the media will be in their favor, all of the coverage of it, because they own so many cable channels, they own so many local TV news stations, they own so many AM radio stations, they own so many local newspapers that they will just pump out a flood of misinformation as they have been doing. And so there's a problem of why the Democrats are going to have a problem messaging no matter what. I am of the unpopular opinion that tomorrow, Wednesday morning, the Democrats should say, you know what, we tried. We tried negotiating with them. They refused to negotiate. So we are going to pass the budget. We're going to reopen the government, and it's going to be on them. We tried. We shut down the government for 34, 35, 36 days to get them to negotiate to extend your premiums, the subsidies on that. They chose not to do it. So it's on them now because we're voting for their bill. So it's on them to defend that. And then to get on the media every single day between now and next November and talk about how the raise in healthcare costs is tied to the Republicans. It's not tied to the Democratic Party.
Right. Well, and I think there are places where you can get the truth, and now every citizen is responsible, absolutely, for figuring out where they can get the truth. I personally think AM 950 is a place you can get the truth, but there are other sources too.
The fact that there are voters out there who voted for Trump to get rid of Obamacare and then didn't realize until after the election that Obamacare was the Affordable Care Act, and they were all angry. And I saw this when I was on other social media platforms because I couldn't take it anymore. People going, they should have done a better job of, the media of letting folks know that the ACA was the Obamacare. I just wanted to scream.
But that's the factor of living in a country that that's ranked 26th for literacy.
It's not a question of literacy.
We are not a brilliant country either. People are not thinking critically. We're a very average country in terms of intelligence.
Allowed. You can take that route if you want to. We have allowed, and it's been under Democratic presidents and Democratic administrations as well, the corporatization of media, and now it is owned by too few people.
Yes.
And we need to bust up these TV conglomerates. We need to bust up these radio folks. We need to bust up the newspapers. Jeff Bezos does not need to be owning the Washington Post. That one billionaire does not need to be owning the LA Times.
No.
Like they do not, 5 people should not be owning 40% of the media in this country. And that is part of the problem here is that we do not have enough smaller, if you're going to be capitalism, you don't have enough competition in media.
Right. It's not really capitalism with too few people and too many dishonest people. Rupert Murdoch being probably the most dishonest person of a bad bunch of rotten bananas, frankly.
Well, there's a lot of folks who are giving him a run for his money right now. I can tell you that for sure. Tomorrow, I want to recommend, we did a whole segment on this. You can find it on our YouTube channel about Bolt's Magazine. They're excellent election guide. You can watch the elections tomorrow like a pro. I want to highlight a couple of things. You just go to boltsmag.org and there's a thing right across the top there that says what's on the ballot. Click on 2025. It's right there on the top of the page. You can't miss it. And they have laid out very clearly all of the races, all 180 plus races tomorrow, but they do it in such a very clean, succinct way where you can see what is going on. A couple races that we want to highlight tomorrow, the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania. Pay attention to that one. That's going to have huge implications for the 2028 election. We are looking there. Actually, I got to go now. Right? Are we up in time? We are up in time. boltsmag.org. Watch the elections like a pro. That is all for us today. We'll see you back here this time tomorrow. And until then, keep it queer, America.
Keep it queer.